It's funny that the last two videos I made were about MatPat and Machinima, and there's now updates about both of those stories that tie into a video I've been meaning to make for quite some time now, which is that YouTube networks seem to be on life support in 2019. In a recent video, MatPat disclosed that after the Defy Media shutdown, the company owed its partners, including Game Theory, a lot of money, and he asked others to go around and spread the word about how these people were wronged. So here I am today to do my part.
Collectively, us 50 had $1.7 million stolen from us. $1.7 million stolen from 50 people. And if that wasn't bad enough, in my case, it was taken by someone who I thought I knew.
To be honest, I thought that they owed creators a lot more than $1.7 million. They had a lot of big channels under them, and on top of this, I've heard that they were behind multiple months on payments for some of their partners. I wouldn't be surprised if MatPat alone was owed $200,000 of that total. Considering that they blew through $70 million of investment money from 2016, this is really sad, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone over there was going to jail. MatPat didn't just stop at going after this one defunct company, however. Oh no. He went all out trashing how terrible the multi-channel network model has been to creators, and that the system has been abused by these companies for years. They scammed investors who did not understand how the online landscape worked, and that included Disney. I really like how MatPat was pretty cynical and angry in this video. It showed a different side of him. The one part of Matt's video that I was a bit confused by were his two reasons for staying with the network, which were to help protect you from copyright problems and allow you to take use of the Content ID system.
If creators want to have copyright protections for their videos to prevent wrongful re-uploads or false claims from movie studios, music labels, what have you, then you have to be a part of an MCN, because based on the system that YouTube has set up, those companies are the only ones with the tools that can offer those protections. And when you have channels that cover movies, TV, and video games, that sort of protection is important.
The thing is, as far as I know, networks don't protect you from copyright strikes or Content ID claims, at least not anymore. Over 5 years ago, YouTube did away with those protections for creators with affiliate partnerships. And starting last year, even those with the more coveted managed status started losing the protection from Content ID systems as well. So being with the network doesn't really protect you in that regard. As for needing a network to use the Content ID claiming process for yourself, I believe YouTube has been testing out a system to give creators this ability without needing a network. On top of that, there's companies that provide this service without you needing to partner with them. If there's something I'm missing here, please let me know, but as far as I'm aware, Matt's claims were not correct in this case. He then says you shouldn't do anything less than a 100-0 split when joining a network, which I 100% agree with. But the thing is, you're still entrusting your money with an MCN that has the chance of going bankrupt just like Defy did. At this point, you're entrusting your livelihood to a company that you don't know the future of. How do you know this new company won't go bankrupt just like the old ones? I can fill up an hour-long video with all the corruption and incompetence I've seen in these MCNs over the years, but let me just share one example that summarizes how they're run pretty well. Back when I was still in high school, I was excited to join the Game Station, which was later called Polaris, and it had a lot of creators under them that I looked up to, like Peanut Butter Gamer and JonTron. When I was signing up, they promised me that they would get me all this amazing support, and that they would help me bring my channel to the next level with a bunch of tips, tricks, and strategies on how to grow my brand. When I signed at the dotted line, I was then assigned a channel manager, and I excitedly jumped on a call with him to find out all these secrets to grow my account. He then told me that I should ask people to subscribe at the end of my videos. That's all the advice he gave me. I'm not exaggerating here, that was the only tip he ever told me of how to grow my channel, and I've heard similar stories about every single other YouTube network. They promise the world, then give you nothing. The idea that some schmuck at a network is going to tell a successful YouTuber how to run their account is just a ridiculous notion in the first place. But many people fell for it, including myself. Thankfully, I was underage when I signed the contract, and they never checked when I joined, so I was able to get out fairly easily when things went really bad. But that's a story for another day. As I'm seeing all these other YouTubers calling out networks, more updates have become available about Machinima. Very shortly after I released my video on what happened to the once big MCN, they went and removed every single piece of content from their accounts. People were mad about this and didn't understand why they went and did that, but I have a pretty good idea of what went down. The first thing you must realize is that much of the content on the channel wasn't even made by them, but rather their partners. This means there was a good chance a lot of these rights to these uploads were in a gray area. On top of this, all their content was dependent on fair use, which is judged on a case-by-case basis, and there was a good chance some of the content wouldn't fall under that protection if brought to court. Now that the channel makes very little in terms of revenue and is owned by AT&T, all those videos were just a liability to keep up. The channel wasn't making much, and the lawyers may have seen it as a potential lawsuit nightmare from people trying to make a quick buck off the network's new owners. As far as I can tell, Machinima has been systematically deleting videos off the main account for years, so this was more of the last straw. It's still weird that all this went down right after my video, but of course that's just a coincidence. Or is it? I think what all this shows is that even though MCNs have been in the decline for the past 5 years, we're really in the middle of seeing their death. Even creators that are still in networks like Review Tech USA have recently come out with videos admitting that they're pretty much useless to him.
You know, as a person who is part of a network, they're probably not going to be thrilled that I'm saying this, but it is what it is. It's kind of showing why in 2019 being on a network isn't really a bright idea. My channel does pretty good, and I get like, here's a pat on the back, and here's a free video game code here and there. And networks take 10% of your pay, and they do pretty much nothing for you.
Rich, I know you're now a father, so I would encourage you to reconsider giving a network 10% of your revenue. Your channel's doing pretty well right now, so let's hypothetically say their cut of your hard-earned money is $10,000 a year. To put that amount into perspective, if instead of giving that money to a middleman, you could invest it for the next 17 years at, let's say, a 7% interest rate and have $300,000 ready so your kid can go to college debt-free. Really, any YouTuber watching this right now that's in a network, find out what your MCN is taking from your earnings and put it into a compound interest calculator to see how much money you're missing out on from being with them. I said it once and I'll say it again. What happened to Defy is just the beginning. If you're with a network right now, I'd be very careful because you may be the next YouTuber telling the world about how you were ripped off. Although these I was scammed videos are getting a lot of views, so maybe the exposure is worth it. Man, it's been a long time since I didn't have an ad placement for the end of one of these videos, so let me just do a free ad right now. Everybody go subscribe to PewDiePie. He's about to lose to T-Series, and we cannot let that happen. The world is dependent on PewDiePie staying the most subscribed to YouTuber of all time. So please go subscribe to him right now. Not getting paid, it just has to be done. So I'll end the video here, and until next time, thanks for watching. Really, go subscribe to PewDiePie.
Ce jour de fête, le cirque est plein d'automne.